All right. Welcome to our May 21st, 2024 Board of County Commissioner meeting. Please stand for invocation by Pastor Blaine Albrighton of Christ Fellowship in Stewart, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Stanley O'Hoppe, Jr., retired Navy.
Morning.
Morning.
Let's pray together. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings in all of our lives. We recognize that there are many in this world who don't enjoy the same blessings that we do of freedom and safety and community. And so we praise you for what we do have, but we also seek you and ask you for your will, knowing that our blessings aren't meant to be kept to ourselves. And so I pray for wisdom for our leaders, both here locally and beyond, so that they can make decisions that will promote righteousness and reflect your love for all people. God, I'm thankful for the patience that you've had with me. So I ask that you'd give us all patience and grace to work together to see how we can best serve those around us. I pray for your comfort for the families and individuals in our community who are hurting. Bring your peace to their lives. Bring that through your presence, through your people. In a time when most of our headlines are pointing to a lack of peace and a lack of trust, God, we want to be different. We want to shine your light. We want to be a beacon of hope. And so I pray that you'd increase our hearts for generosity, for compassion. Give us vision to see and to do your will all around us. We know you're pleased when we seek you. We seek you first, and we submit to your authority. And so let us be mindful of that for every moment. And I ask all of this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning.
Morning. Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. How much time do I have?
All that you want.
All that you want.
I served 22 years in the submarine service. Now I'm going to go backtrack. 1959, graduated from high school, decided to go to college. I lasted 1 year. Came back to New Jersey and worked for my father for 6 months. That did not work. I was walking down the street in Asbury Park, New Jersey, past a recruiting station. I saw a photo of a submarine and a mock-up. Staring in the window, and the recruiter came running out of the door, just drooling. Said, "Do you think you can do that?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Follow me." So I took some tests. Next thing I know, he invited me for a nice trip to New York City to fill out some paperwork, take some tests, see a doctor and a psychiatrist. I said, wow, this is too much for me. All I wanted to do was go to a rodeo. So I passed all that, and next thing I knew, I had a ticket to Great Lakes, Illinois for a wonderful winter. It was horrible. After that, I graduated. They sent me to Key West, Florida, to torpedo school, which is another story. After I was there for 2 weeks, they woke me up in the middle of the night and said, "This is not good. This is the Bay of Pigs. This is real." So they gave me a loaded M1 rifle. And I said, "I want my mother. I didn't join for this." So I survived that, graduated from torpedo school. And the Navy and its system, they sent me to Scotland to a submarine tender before they sent me to submarine school. I graduated from submarine school. And fortunately, I had the honor of having lunch aboard the Nautilus in 1961 in the torpedo room. That's where I lived for many years. I served on 2 diesel submarines, 2 nuclear fast attack submarines, and my last years, I recruited nuclear engineers from the various universities in California. After that, I retired, and well, you don't want to hear all about that, but it was a wonderful life, and I love the Navy. So if I were 18, I would do it again. Thank you.
Go Navy. want to do,
We want to do what you want to do.
okay, let's go through the agenda. Presets 9:05, public comment. 10 o'clock, the Live Local Act presentation. 5:05, public comment. Additional items. Consent number 9, confirmation of Erica Sinclair as Chief Financial Information Officer of Martin County. Consent,
Chief Information Officer,
what'd I say?
Financial.
Did I?
Well, you threw it in there.
Okay. I gave her permission. Anyway, consent 10, adoption of proclamation declaring World Oceans Month in Martin County, Florida. Consent 11, acceptance and approval of the First Amendment to the lease between Martin County and Florida Community Health Centers Incorporated, located at the Martin County Health Department on Willoughby Boulevard in Stewart. Consent poll, consent number 9, confirmation of Erica Sinclair as Chief Information Officer of Martin County, pulled by Commissioner Hurd.
Sure.
Yes.
I would move approval of the agenda with the additional items of consent number 9, consent number 10, consent item 11, with polling consent item number 9 with Commissioner Hurd.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Now, we have proclamations. Martha Ann will be handling that, and we're going to begin with Mr. Hopi accepting the Memorial Day proclamation, and I will step down there, and Martha will handle it from here.
Go do it.
Yep, you guys can come up, I'll read the proclamation and. Okay, since our nation's earliest days, America has been blessed with an unbroken chain of patriots who have served our country with honor and distinction. From Concord to Kandahar, generations of brave warriors have fought for freedom across sand and snow, over mud and mountains, into lonely deserts, and through crowded streets. The board recognizes May 27, 2024 as Memorial Day and calls upon all citizens to take the time to remember those who served and sacrificed to be sure this nation remains the bastion of freedom we all have been privileged to enjoy. Do you want to speak, or either one of you?
Sure. I just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity, Commissioners. And I just want to reiterate that Memorial Day is not Veterans Day. Memorial Day is a time for memorizing these fallen soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines that didn't make it home. I know when I went to Afghanistan, I did not come home with my entire company. So again, it's not Veterans Day. We're not thanking veterans for their service. We're just remembering the ones that have fallen in the line of duty. Thank you.
Martha Ann, who wrote that one, that proclamation?
I will find out, I don't know.
It was excellent.
I did.
It was perfect. It was very well
Did
done.
not.
You knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, ready?
Yep. Fire away.
Okay, next up, we're presenting a proclamation honoring Ms. Ruth Gran on her 102nd birthday in Martin County, Florida. Ruth Gran was born on May 11, 1922, in Framingham, Massachusetts. She married her husband, Ray, the day before he was deployed to India in World War II, serving in the Army Air Corps, and they were married for over 60 years. Ruth worked for the Army Paymasters during the war and then worked for the National Park Service in St. Augustine, and later, after retirement, in Georgia. Ruth has one son, 3 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. The board congratulates Ruth Gran upon the occasion of her 102nd birthday and extends their best wishes for her many more happy and healthy years. Happy birthday, Ms. Gran.
Birthday.
I just want to add that Mrs. Gran's father was in World War I. Her husband served in World War II. Her brother served in Korea. her son served in Vietnam, and Mrs. Gran also was an Army paymaster in World War II. So a family of veterans.
Thank you.
And Ms. Grant, if you can hear me, I grew up in Westboro, which is just a town and a half away from Framingham, and used to spend a lot of time in Framingham because Ken's Steakhouse was there. And for those of you who go to Publix and see Ken's original salad dressing, that's where it's from. Not that that's the most famous thing from Framingham, but nonetheless, it was a great town.
She spent more time in Florida than she did in Massachusetts.
That's okay, we won't hold it against her. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Saying happy birthday, Mom. Yep, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay. How about gardeners? Oh, what do you want to do? Okay. Oh, never, I lied, not gardeners. Safe Boating Week. Okay. Yep. Are they coming? Oh, no. Okay. Flotilla 59 of the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary, based in Martin County's Sandsprit Park, participates in the annual National Safe Boating Week campaign to promote boating safety and encourages the boating public to wear life jackets when enjoying the region's waterways. The board commends the auxiliary for their efforts in furthering the goals of the National Safe Boating Week, observed May 18 through the 24 of this year, and their year-round efforts to promote safe boating. Ms. O'Neill? Yep. Commander O'Neill.
Morning.
I'm Cheryl O'Neill. I am the commander.
Hold the mic.
There we go. I'm Cheryl O'Neill. I'm the commander of Flotilla 59 in Stewart. We are located at Sandsprit Park. And on behalf of our 71 members, auxiliarists, thank you very much for supporting us for 82 years within Martin County. And that is consecutive 82 years of servicing the community boating the boating community. Sorry. One of the things that we are excited about this year is, I'm not sure if many of you know of the Austin Blue Foundation, and it is the two young men who were lost at sea out of Jupiter. We have been awarded a grant that provides the fees and covers the costs of children and students and young adults from 12 to 21 for all their boating education. And this has to do with the Boat America course. It is a required course by the state of New Jersey. You can tell I'm formerly New Jersey. That was a long time ago. Also, it is required by New Jersey. But in Florida, anybody born after January 1st, 1988 is required to have a boating safety ID card in Florida. A couple things that, other than that, that are coming up. One is don't boat while you are impaired. In June 7th or 4th, I'm sorry, I'm bubbling. July 4th, thank you, everybody. July 4th through the 6th is Operation Dry Water, and it is actually a full year program, but focused in that weekend, the July 4th weekend. You're going to see a lot of law enforcement out checking boaters, because one of our largest problems that we have in this area is boating while impaired. And that is not just alcohol, it is other products also. So the thing more closely is June 8th, and that is everybody is being invited to Station Fort Pierce, the Coast Guard station up there, and that they are having an open house from 10 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon, and we would encourage everybody to be there. On that note, just take care, boat safely, and get home. That is our biggest thing. Get home. Wear your life jackets and get home. Thank you. And I think we have a whole bunch of people that are going to be putting on some life jackets. So it's going to be a little bit of levity down here. Okay.
Yes, you want us down there?
Come on down.
Step into the alcove while they get dressed.
My son is taking my younger son's class.
Is there any chance you could zip them up?
Come on. There's no bystanders.
And,
Looks like it's yours to put on, sir.
We want everybody.
Oh, I have to read. I think maybe the birthday girl should do it. I'm in trouble now.
and suit up.
You guys don't want to all get in it too? You guys don't want to all get in it? You should get in it.
Hey, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think all of you in.
Gentlemen in blue. We want everybody. By age or by height?
I'm fine right here.
No, you're not.
That's an order.
Remember, I'm the commander.
Okay.
So he can deny my word.
And
Oh, I crossed her off, yes.
1, 2, 3.
boy.
We got a big group here today.
Thank you.
And I do have to commend you. Because the city commissioners did not all know how to put their jackets on. Thank you very much. Please do. Thank you.
And you sort of breezed over the reading of the
Don't
document.
edit that out.
I ordered a large, but I guess.
You can come back in and we'll do a voiceover.
Next, we're going to present a proclamation declaring National Garden Week. Okay. Gardeners add beauty, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives by growing herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flowers. Gardeners work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiative through innovation and hard work. During National Garden Week, June 2nd through the 8th, the board acknowledges the importance of gardening and the numerous contributions of gardeners. Ms. Rosita Aristoff.
I watched you do the evaluation board. That was a lot.
Good morning. As president of the Garden Club of Stewart, I am honored to receive the National Garden Week proclamation on behalf of the Garden Club of Stewart. The Garden Club of Stewart is among as many as 5,000 garden clubs across America, affiliated with the National Garden Clubs, all of which will soon be celebrating National Garden Week on June 2nd to June 8th. It is an opportunity for us to work with other like-minded groups involved in the areas of Florida-friendly plantings, native plantings, floral design, and in sharing knowledge about gardening. For Garden Week, we will again place floral arrangements at Martin County's public libraries. Other activities leading up to that week include an extensive cleanup of the old courthouse gardens, as well as at least 60 new plantings at the Sherman School of Seamanship, and the refreshing of our Blue Star Memorial marker at Memorial Park. So on behalf of the Garden Club of Stuart, I thank the Board of County Commissioners for recognizing our efforts to beautify the community. In closing, I would like to say that gardening is a matter of your enthusiasm holding up until your back gets used to it. And Chairman Jenkins knows all about that because he's a gardener.
Next up, we're presenting a proclamation declaring Public Works Week in Martin County, Florida. Jim Gorton, Public Works Director, is here to receive the proclamation. Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, quality of life, and well-being of the people of Martin County. This year marks the 64th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. The board recognizes May 19 through 25th as Public Works Week. Jim?
I'm Jim Gorton, the Public Works Director. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the board for the support that you give to the Public Works Department as we celebrate this National Public Works Week. Our department consists of 12 divisions with 170 employees, and I want to thank the hardworking Public Works staff for their dedication towards planning, building, managing, and operating to help improve the quality of life for Martin County residents. If you're not familiar with Public Works, we do a lot of things, from transit to managing traffic flow to building bridges, transportation planning, to improving water quality, restoring ecosystems, and controlling mosquitoes. We are Public Works at work.
Thank you.
Bring the team up into the well for a picture. Into the well. We'll stay here. You go down there, Harold. Do a big shot. We know how much you love the spotlight.
Come on, let's go, guys. Everybody, let's go.
Let's go.
In the picture.
The county has ground to a halt.
Yeah, it is.
Zelka's here. We got the heavy hitters.
170 folks.
John Mail, Luke.
It's all in the back.
George Sama. Got the powerhouse.
Violin. Sorry, you can't be in.
Tall in the back, not as tall in the
I
front.
think he's taller than I am,
Wishing.
even standing down there. With heels.
Yeah, tall. Yeah, get some of the.
Squeeze in a little bit more on the side.
Squishing like you love each other.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Wow, one pick. Look, I need some no parking signs. Do you have any with you? In your car? Bye, George.
Okay, and saving the best for the last, we're presenting a proclamation declaring Travel and Tourism Week in Martin County, Florida. Narissa Okie, BOCC Tourism Director, is here to accept, along with her staff. National Travel and Tourism Week provides an opportunity to celebrate distinctive character of our area, promote the benefits of exploring our own backyard, and recognize the hardworking individuals who make our local tourism industry thrive. The board recognizes May 19 through 25th as Travel and Tourism Week in Martin County and urges all residents to explore the wonders of our community, support our local businesses, and share the warmth and hospitality that make our area truly unique. Narissa?
Good morning, Commissioners, Sarah Woods, Don Donaldson, thank you for having us here. We're very excited to accept this award. National Travel and Tourism Week is an annual celebration. It was established in 1983, and it recognizes the essential role in stimulating the economic growth, cultivating vibrant communities, and creating quality of life and job opportunities for Americans every day. National Travel and Tourism Week celebrates the industry's critical role in empowering our nation's economy and connections. The Travel and Tourism Week, or travel and tourism industry, as you may not be aware, is a $2.8 billion industry. It supports nearly 15 million jobs and generates $89 million in generated state and local tax revenue. It supports essential services like education, emergency response, public safety, and more. Here in Martin County, our numbers aren't quite that large, but they're still very impressive. Tourism spending is about $730 million. It supports over 10,000 jobs, and it generates $85.2 million in state and local taxes. For every dollar spent by a Martin County visitor, 69 cents stays local. So it really does support our local economy. This year, to celebrate National Travel and Tourism Week, we try to do something a little different every year, but we're very excited to announce our first Destination Distinction Awards brought to you by the Martin County Tourist Development Council. These awards aim to honor individuals, teams, businesses, and organizations that surpass expectations to serve tourism and serve as tourism ambassadors by exceeding their typical duties. Through their outstanding performance and actions, these individuals create experiences that leave visitors delighted and eager to return to Martin County. These nominees go above and beyond in their typical duties to make our tourism-related businesses more efficient, friendly, and enjoyable. So we're hoping that everybody will nominate their favorite hospitality worker. We have 5 categories. Guest Happiness Ambassador is for our hotel staff. Attraction and Venue Superstar is for any of our attractions and venues or performing venues. Dining Experience Guru. So if there's any waiter or wait staff that really make your experience truly exceptional, please nominate them. And then we have a destination expert for those individuals who just really know everything there is to know about Martin County. And finally, we're very excited because of our sustainability initiative. We have a Leave No Trace Champion Award that we are awarding to either a business or an individual, and Leave No Trace organization is going to actually help judge that award. So I would like to thank you again for having us. I have Ian and Sally here with me. I could not do anything without them. Not quite as big as Public Works, but we're mighty. Emily is on vacation, and Anna Grace is actually on a program. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And while they're taking photos, I would encourage all of you to tune in to when Narissa does her update on what she does for tourism and what her team does. It is absolutely amazing what that mighty little team pulls off. The numbers are staggering of what they accomplish. And if you could just listen to the last 10 minutes of our meeting when we do our TDC meeting, it is a whirlwind tour of what's going on out there. And so thank you all very much for what you do. It's incredible.
Thanks.
Okay. With that, we will move into our public comment portion of the meeting, and Mr. Donaldson, I'm sure, has something to say.
Yes, since we are in an election season, politicking is prohibited, which is defined as advocating the election or defeat of a candidate or for public office, either partisan or nonpartisan. This includes the use of words, dates, signs, props, and/or wearing apparel that convey a message of support for a person or a group of persons.
Okay, and as usual, you have 3 minutes. You'll hear a tone at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That means wrap your comments up. And we're going to start with Mr. Tom Pine, followed by William Ball.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Tom Pine. I've been a resident of Martin County for over 50 years. Today in the consent agenda, $7,010,828.73 was spent between April 29th and May 5th of 2024, without identifying the payees or the purpose of the payments. Congratulations on moving forward with the use of microtransit plan for the Martin County to use instead of buses or maybe with buses, but at least we're moving towards the 21st century. There is, of course, challenges to any new system, but there are several communities in and around Florida that use various types of microtransit systems for some time now. It was exciting to watch when the vote was approved to move forward to start buying defibrillators as soon as possible for our county parks. The 5 or so people from Palm City that spoke before this commission this past September pleading for help getting defibrillators at pickleball courts after one of their own had a heart attack because the park department had told them no 3 times, even after they bought defibrillators with their own money. So thanks again. I'm going to talk about a shopping experience I had recently. A couple of weeks ago, I had a price for a leather chair recovered. It was higher than expected, but after a couple of weeks, I gave in and brought the chair to the shop. The owner was busy with another customer, so I waited. My turn came, and the owner, gushing over the previous customer, she's telling me how beautiful the boat they live on, full time, is just goes on about it. And then she turns to me. She gets her paperwork out, calculator, and tells me the sales tax will be $113.75 if I pay with a credit card. She goes on to then tell me that if I pay with a check made out to her, I wouldn't have to pay the sales tax. I can only guess, but the expression on my face must have told her the scheme wasn't for me. So she came up with a better one. You can write a check to our Christmas decoration fund. I called her a thief. Her answer, no. I have this form from the county that the Christmas decoration fund is legal. My answer was loud and clear. You're a thief. You're a thief. I left with my chair. One has to wonder how many good Martin County residents take advantage of this scheme. Many, I suspect. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ball will be followed by Dr. John Hips.
Morning. Morning. Did you all receive the Beach Bucket Foundation packet?
Yes.
Appreciate it. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is William Ball, and I'm a volunteer with the Beach Bucket Foundation. I'm here today to talk about a very crucial issue that affects all of us. The cleanliness of our beaches and parks in Martin County, as well as we know, our beautiful coastline, is a treasured resource that brings joy to residents and visitors alike. However, the increasing amount of trash and debris is not only an eyesore, but a serious threat to our environment and wildlife. Beach Bucket Foundation is a simple yet effective solution. It provides public cleanup stations throughout our parks and beaches. By doing so, we can empower our community to take ownership and to make a positive impact. Presently, there are 75 stations throughout Palm Beach County and Brevard, which is Cocoa Beach area, and they've had exceptional results. I'm submitting to you support letters from our local agencies that I have contacted, along with support letters from Palm Beach County, Town of Jupiter, Parks and Recreation, Town of Palm Beach, Boynton Beach, and Cocoa Beach. These stations will cost nothing to the county, but an additional trash can next to the station for Parks and Recreation or whomever is emptying it. By working together, we can make a significant difference. 1, protect marine wildlife and their habitats. 2, enhance the beauty and safety of our public areas and spaces. 3, foster a sense of community and responsibility among residents and visitors. We can get quite a few communities, such as Martin County Schools for community service. I mean, it's endless. The Martin County Sheriff, it just goes, local churches, it goes on and on. This is a win-win situation for all. It promotes environmental education and awareness, like I said. So on behalf of the initiative aligned with values of Martin County, as we all are trying to provide everyone, I urge you all to consider and supporting this proposal. Let's work together to keep our beaches and parks clean and ensure healthier and more beautiful environmental generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think, hold on just a minute, Commissioner
So,
Campy.
question for you, Mr. Ball. When you said no cost, do you give the plan, I saw in your photographs, do you give the plans and groups like us or individuals make them?
No, sir. These stations are patented, okay?
Okay.
And they are all going to be the same on
Okay.
every location, depending on a single, double, quadruple buckets, okay, for people. Obviously, location will be assessed accordingly. That's through our assistance with your help as you approve this.
Okay.
The buckets and stations are all coming from donations. People can sponsor a bucket if they'd like, and get their groups to come out. We are involved with Surfrider Foundations, Surfing for Autism, the Endless Summer license plate through Cocoa Beach, and quite a few more foundations that we're involved with that are all in conjunction of cleaning our environment here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll get in contact with you.
Thank you.
Dr. John Hips. And that is my last speaker form. If anybody else would like to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. I want to thank you for your service to our community. I'm here to ask for a withdrawal of consent item number 6 today from the consent agenda, and that's the Cove of Hopestown. I'd like to have it suggested it be resubmitted for further study so that we can have questions and maybe have the public be able to have this more fully vetted. I just received this agenda last night, and I reviewed the packet. It looks on the surface to be a routine request, but when I look in this carefully, I see some number of questions that I think I'd like to have answered, and it may require even answers from the wildlife biologists that did the study. So that is my request, and just respectfully requesting that we just resubmit it maybe at the next meeting for public discussion. Thank you.
Want to explain to him that we've already done it?
That ship unfortunately has already sailed. We've already accepted the consent agenda, so,
Commissioners, yes, it has been approved. This also, and staff can verify, this allows the amendment to the Preserve Area Management Plan, but does not give final approval to the project, right? If I understand it, it is still moving through the process, so it simply allowed the adjustment to the Preserve Area Management Plan that was approved prior, actually made it larger. So there will be opportunities for the public to talk about the actual project itself. This simply allowed them to move forward with a modified project that increased the Preserve Area Management, so it will be coming back under a different form.
okay. And with that, Commissioner comments, Commissioner Smith?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Don Donaldson through the chair about a week and a half ago if we could break today early for a service for one of our probably more wonderful community leaders, community involvement persons. Miss Evelyn Degler passed away about a week and a half ago. The Degler family has been a mainstay of Martin County for generations. And have provided a level of entertainment and participation in our fair that has been really something very, very special. And quite honestly, the Degler name is known all up and down the east coast of the United States because they traveled with their carnival to all points of the southeast portion of our country, or of our country. And so her service today is at 11, and so I'll be leaving to go to that service. But a very special lady, incredible family, and just a really great storyline for a business that's been here in Martin County for a very, very long time, and a family that has been very much involved in participating in our community. So with that, I appreciate your time.
So what our plan is we're going to break, we're going to extend our closed captioning to 10:45. And at that point, we're going to break until 1. And then and try to get it. We have a pretty short, manageable agenda today, so that shouldn't be an issue. Commissioner Heatherington.
I will just wish all the kids that'll be out for school for summer. Most of them are getting out this week, and congratulations to all the graduates. I think we had the last graduation maybe yesterday at Jensen Beach High School. So congratulations to the graduate, and I wish everybody a safe summer. And just on the note of the agenda, I have a pre-op appointment for my son in Royal Palm, so I probably will not be back after 1. So we'll just work however we can from there.
Do the best we can. Okay. Commissioner Campy.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to announce, after quite a while of working on the project, for those, excuse me, for those folks in Palm City or individuals that have been driving by on Map Road, we've had a fence up between our Station 21 firehouse and Rex Centel's veterinary clinic for quite some time, while we worked behind the fence on something that we're calling the patio at Palm City Place. I'd like to thank and compliment Miss Susan Corris and Jordan Pistorius. They worked tirelessly and really gave their heart and souls to helping us create this. It is in green open space. It is attached or adjacent to a stormwater retention pond that was really very attractive and did not need to be fenced off and kept from the public. In the back, we have a T fishing pier, where even as recently as this weekend, kids were pulling, bass out of that water as big as your arm. We did a walking path around the whole entire area. And then in the front, close to Map Road, we added a bandstand, concrete ping pong, concrete cornhole, and concrete table and benches that have the checkerboard motif, so you could just sit there. We're going to do a concert, series of concerts throughout the year at that location. And there's a beautiful fountain in the lake. And I think it's just a highlight and a compliment to Palm City, but obviously welcome to all. And we're going to kick it off with a ribbon cutting and sort of a day's worth of festivities on June 1st. It starts at 11, goes till the afternoon. There'll be food trucks and vendors. And I know they have a tremendously great following in Martin County. The first musical act to ever perform at the patio at Palm City Place will be the Nouveau Honkies. So please come out and join us. And again, for our staff that has worked tirelessly on this, there was a lot of complications. We kept it really environmentally sensitive, and and Parks and Rec will take it over and maintain it. So I just wanted to say thank you for the folks that were involved in doing it, and it's just another addition to Map Road's renaissance. And so thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all there on June 1st between 11 and into the afternoon. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Hurd.
I'm set.
And I'm set. We're all set. How about we do our consent poll? Commissioner Hurd, confirmation of Erica Sinclair as Chief Information Officer of Martin County.
I pulled it because this is an important promotion, and Erica has been a staff member for a very long time for Martin County. She's had a number of positions. She has a wonderful resume, and I just wanted the public to get an opportunity to be introduced to know Erica. Congratulations.
If I could just take a moment to say thank you so much. As I have done some reflecting myself, being with the county for 18 years, I stand here really filled with humility and gratitude for this opportunity to continue to serve the taxpayers and all the staff of Martin County. As an IT department, we serve everyone. So we're thankful for that opportunity, and I also want to thank administration for entrusting me with this responsibility. It is a huge responsibility, and I don't take it lightly. And I also want to thank, I have an amazing IT staff that support you all on a daily basis. Some you don't see or hear about, but they're working so hard, and they have really stepped up during this transition, and I am very thankful for them. And I hope we continue to tackle any obstacles and celebrate successes with all of you. So thank you for your support.
All right.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith.
Old light but new light.
Okay, good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been fun to watch you all these years and see where you started and where you are today. Really remarkable.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Commissioner Campy.
It is a tremendously large job, and we gave it to the absolute perfect person to do it.
Oh,
I agree.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Erica.
All right.
I would make a motion, make a motion to accept staff's recommendation to promote Miss Erica Sinclair to our Chief Information Officer of Martin County. Everybody wants to say.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Commissioner Smith.
I did have one other thing. I apologize for not doing it in my update, but I was going through my notes of things I was going to share with you all. Last week, we had an individual come before us with a code enforcement discussion. I've had a lot of conversations with Ms. Woods over the last couple days about our code enforcement policy or lack thereof, or our, it's not even a policy, it's more of an ordinance, right? I would like to just check with the board to see if we can bring that back and firm up some things that may not be crystal clear or that we never did adopt, maybe way back when we thought we did, just so that there's a better understanding for us as well as the public as to what really happens with code enforcement, what the fines are, how that is done, who does what in what part of that process, just so the public is a lot clearer on that, if that's okay.
Completely supportive of that. Yeah.
So Don, if you could bring back, or Donna, Sarah, if you could bring back an agenda item that outlines all that, that would be.
Yeah, we'll update the ordinance on code enforcement.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if we're going to go by the agenda, the next in line is public hearing number 1. Public hearing to consider changes to Article 10, Development Review Procedures, Land Development Regulations, Martin County Code regarding the threshold for review of solar energy facilities, and Mr. Peter Walden will be.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, members of the board. I'm Peter Walden. I'm the Deputy Growth Management Director. Give me just a second. This is a request for an amendment to Article 10, Development Review Procedures regarding solar energy facilities. It's requested by Lucido and Associates on the behalf of Florida Power and Light. A little background, Article 10, Development Procedures was created in 1996. It was totally restructured in 2019. There was an Ordinance 1067 adopted in 2018 that made the development standards and guidelines for solar facilities. The request today is pretty simple. It's to change the threshold for review for solar facilities or solar farms from a major to a minor application. This is in line with targeted industries. Staff feels that the solar farms are a green energy source. They add to the resilience of the infrastructure for the county. There's no noise or environmental issues with the solar farms, and there's no traffic associated with them, so the impacts to the community are very minimal. And the review process for staff stays exactly the same. All the wetland protections and environmental review and public works staff, everybody still does the same review. It just gives them an opportunity to move through the process a little bit quicker by not having to do the public hearing process. There have been 4 solar farms already approved. There has been no opposition whatsoever to any of them. FPL seems to be a good steward of the land and for the staff to work with. So with that, it did go to the LPA. The vote was 2-2. There was no real recommendation from the LPA on the matter. But staff recommends approval and move that the board adopt the proposed ordinance amending Article 10, Development and Review Procedures, Land Development Regulations, Martin County Code. Be glad to answer any questions.
Commissioner Campy.
Thank you, Mr. Walden. The solar fields as owned by a private entity stay on the tax rolls, correct?
Yes.
So based on,
No?
There are certain statutory exemptions for solar fields in terms of your TPP exemptions.
well, TPP, I get it's a solar field.
Yes.
But it's another opportunity for large acreage of land to be utilized in such a way that has a very low impact at all on the residents and the environment and traffic, like you mentioned. But then also taking hundreds, if not thousands of acres and turning them into solar fields. We've done in a partnership, well, FPL has done it with a partnership with us very successfully in the past. And I think by creating this streamlined version, even though it will still meet all of the requirements, it has to meet all of the requirements and review. But I think if you're in FPL and have the opportunity to place these anywhere in the state or in their area, I think it sends the right message to FPL that we want to do business with them. And then it also takes, hundreds to thousands of acres that could have been purchased to do something, that it would have a much greater impact on the nearby residents or all residents. I make a motion to accept your recommendation.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I want to say, I think FPL has done an exceptional job. I think they're the only ones that have done solar fields so far in Martin County. But I think one of the very first votes I took up here was to put a solar field directly behind my family home. FPL has done what they have said they're going to do. I think the public hearing process gives them an opportunity to highlight all the great things they're doing. So I'd prefer to streamline it, but still have the public hearing process, because I think it gives a wonderful opportunity for FP&L to let the public know what they're doing. And they're doing some magnificent things.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Heatherington. I think that they should be proud to spotlight these worthy projects, and they do enjoy popular support. So I don't, and I also don't like the expansion of administrative approvals. We are going away from giving this board the opportunity to have public hearings and instead allowing the administration to make those determinations, and I don't think that's good public policy. So I'm not going to support a motion to change the approval to an administrative one.
Okay.
So move to deny.
Commissioner Smith.
I'll second Ed's motion, and here's why. If in the planning process or in the idea of how something is gone from A to B to C, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of money spent on doing that. These solar fields, and from the first one that we did with FPL, which was the hybrid version out at the plant, to the subsequent more current technology of what they're moving forward to, is really remarkable. The investment that they're making in our community is remarkable. I would even go much further to say not only their commitment to Martin County, but their commitment to the state of Florida to be a much more resiliently direct energy producing company is, again, nothing short of remarkable. And I think anything we can do to encourage them to do more of it is a good thing. And I think if streamlining that process to something that we would vote for and that we would gladly want to have here in Martin County, I think is something that we can absolutely be proud of to do, and I support the idea 100%.
Commissioner Camping.
I just wanted to respond to my colleagues. I don't disagree with what Commissioner Heatherington or Commissioner Hurd said. I think that, yes, the concept of just allowing staff to make administrative approvals is something we need to be leery of. And when I hear Commissioner Heatherington say that she's really, in favor of these projects, and I remember that it was the one being built behind her family home. But that being said, did we come up with this idea, or was this a suggestion or a request from FPL?
This is a request from the applicant, FPL, yes.
Now, I'm not sure how many, I know they're not in every county, but they're in many. And if it's something that we are very happy about, and you had mentioned that we've done 4 of these in the past, and I've been here for those 4, I believe, or at least 3, no one comes to make a public comment or to participate. And if we're going to say that they should go through a long, expensive process just so that we could congratulate them here in the chambers, I bet there'll be fewer projects that they'll be coming forward with. There's no specific rationale that it would need to be in Martin County versus Okeechobee County, Indian River County, St. Lucie County, just right here in our region. And if those other counties say, look, we're going to help you streamline a process that you've asked us to help you with, if I'm at FPL, why would I do it here instead of in the other counties that have made it easier for us? If it was something, very few projects in my mind would I give up the ability to have a say in. Not just a say for myself personally, but a say for a county commissioner to review this. This is one of those, in my opinion, one of those types of projects that if we can, enhance our opportunity to have FPL look favorably upon the county to bring this here. And I don't know if there's an FPL representative here that would be interested in sharing some of this with us. I'm not interested in giving away my authority as a commissioner to review projects. And the concept that we would have them go through the entire process so that we could congratulate them as we went along, I think will backfire on us. That's the only reason I would be interested in participating in this.
Commissioner Heatherington.
It's my understanding, the way you described it, it's basically a public hearing. So I don't know if it's an LPA and I feel like we could expedite that and have the public hearing and still be able to get FP&L in and out of here.
Well, it would take a public hearing process, which is the LPA and Board of County Commissioners, and it is a by right application, so it's not like a PUD where there's a lot of there's an agreement or anything like that. So they are straightforward in their application, and like I said, the review process stays the same.
Okay. With that, we have a motion.
Public comment.
Public comment. I have no public comment form, so yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Gary Erler. I'm a resident of Port Salerno. As far as I'm concerned, we need to leave the process the way it is and allow for public comment. Streamlining only takes care of transparency. I'm all for being as transparent as possible. It posted everywhere possible. Yellow signs. We already know yellow signs go up. The process has already been started before that. So anything to increase transparency, I'm all about. So I would only hope that the process stays the way it is. Thank you.
Okay, with that, do we have any other public comment? We have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries 3-2. Commissioner Heatherington and Hurd dissenting. Okay. Next item, public hearing quasi-judicial to consider adoption of an amendment to the Martin County zoning atlas to change the zoning classifications for Mr. and Mrs. Brian Oksana Reeves, and this will be by John Sennett.
Commissioner Elise Elder, Deputy County Attorney. This is a
This
quasi
is a
judicial.
quasi-judicial, so do we have any ex parte? Commissioner Smith?
If I do, they're filed.
If any, might have been filed.
I don't think I do, but if I do, they've been filed. Commissioner?
I don't have any. It's been filed.
I don't have any, and they've been filed.
Okay, could everybody stand and be sworn in that are going to be testifying?
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Are there any interveners?
There are no interveners.
Okay,
And the proof of public notice was turned in at the LPA hearing.
Okay,
Work history.
that covers it. Thank you, sir.
A copy of my work history is being
Oh.
turned in as Exhibit 1. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm John Sennett, Senior Planner with Growth Management. I'm presenting the rezoning application on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Brian and Oksana Reeves. They are proposing to rezone from the current A1A Agricultural District to the RE 1/2A Residential Estate District. Their property is located northwest of Salerno Road and southwest of Highland Avenue in Stewart. It's currently undeveloped. It's approximately 2.4 acres. They wish to develop a single-family residence with customary accessory structures. The future land use designation of the property and the surrounding properties to the north, west, and south is the estate density 2 units per acre designation. The rural density future land use designation is present to the east of the property. The property and the surrounding properties to the west, south, and east are currently zoned A1A Agricultural District. The A1A district is a Category C zoning district. To the north of the property is the Southwood PUD, which consists of single-family residences. Because the A1A zoning district is a Category C zoning district, this application is being processed as a mandatory rezoning to a Category A district, which implements the policies of the estate density to UPA future land use designation. There is one standard Category A zoning district which implements that land use, and that is the RE 1/2A Residential Estate District. New PUD zoning is also an additional option for applicants. These are the development standards for the RE 1/2A zoning district. Minimum 50% open space, maximum 30 feet of height, front setback of 25 feet, side and rear setback of 15 feet. These are the conditions supporting the applicant's request. The existing future land use designation of estate density to UPA for the property and surrounding areas is compatible with the RE 1/2A district. The existing single-family residential and institutional uses in the area of the property is compatible with the RE 1/2A district. And the existing Southwood single-family residential PUD to the north of the property has an overall density and lot sizes which are compatible with the RE 1/2A zoning district. This matter was heard before the LPA on May 16th. They approved the application 4-0 with 1 absence. Development review staff have found the Reeves rezoning application to comply with all applicable regulations and the comprehensive growth management plan as detailed in the staff report. We move that the board receive and file the agenda and its attachments, including the staff report as Exhibit 1, then move that the board adopt a resolution amending the Martin County zoning atlas to change the zoning district designation on the subject site from A1A Agricultural District to RE 1/2A Residential Estate District. I'm here for any questions.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. And not that I don't want to ask you the question, but I'll ask Paul, just for the historical piece of all this. Back when we as a state adopted comprehensive planning and land use, every piece of land in the state of Florida was given a future land use, correct?
Good morning, Commissioners. Paul Schilling, Growth Management Director. Yes, the comprehensive plan, yes, sir.
And in theory, what was supposed to have happened back then is not only was there a land use assigned, but there was to be an accompanying zoning that would have bundled with that.
That's my understanding, yes.
But we never did that.
No, we did not.
And so for the public that wonders why we would do a rezoning like this and to bring it into compliance, it's because we have a land use that wasn't matched up with a zoning when we should have, and now an applicant has to come forward to do what they're doing today to make it right with what the comp plan asked for.
That's correct. So the A1A is a Category C district established in 1967 in the county's original zoning code. So then further along, the comprehensive plan was adopted, and the two are not consistent. So that necessitates rezoning at the applicant's request of individual parcels from time to time, which you see us here today.
And so, part of this is sort of an apology to the applicants that I wished that this had been done decades ago, so that you wouldn't have to be here today doing this and going through the expense of doing it. But just for the general public's knowledge or understanding of why we're having a hearing like this and why would we be doing this, it's because historically we didn't and should have. But here we are today. And with that, pending public comment, I would move staff's recommendation.
Second.
Okay. With that, do we have any public comment? Do we have any comment from the applicant? Please state your name and tell us that you've been sworn in.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Brian Reeves. I'm the property owner for the application in question here. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for, I couldn't have said that better myself. It's been quite a challenge.
Horrible, and I apologize, but...
But thank you. I believe John and his staff have done a wonderful job in explaining the situation and as we proceed forward with this.
Thank you.
Well, if it passes, we wish you the best.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Now we will move on to our 10 o'clock preset Live Local Act presentation by Mr. Tom Lanahan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Tom Lanahan, Executive Director of the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. Thank you for inviting me to come and speak with you about this item today. As I said last time I was here, Regional Planning Council didn't write this. We're here to help you try and interpret what it means. This is the recent the focus of today will be the recent changes from this past session, which were adopted through Senate Bill 328. In the presentation here, some of this will look similar to last time, but focus your eyes on the red text in there. That's the either additions or changes that have been made. So like last time, I like to start off with the statement of legislative intent, which they did not make any changes to. Basically, the purpose of all this is to articulate a state housing strategy that will carry the state towards the goal of ensuring that each Floridian has safe, decent, and affordable housing. And then they're looking to involve state and local governments working in partnership with communities and the private sector on regarding financial, regulatory, and commitment aspects of that goal. So let me see if this will advance for me. Yes, perfect. Okay. Starting off with everyone's favorite topic, which is preemptions of local government authority. The existing provision, which has been in the books for a few years now, is an optional program whereby the county could approve affordable housing on existing commercial or industrial zoned lands if at least 10% of those units are affordable, and you do not need to change the land use or zoning in order to do that. The next area is, this is an actual preemption. You must authorize multifamily and mixed-use residential in commercial, industrial, or mixed-use zoning if at least 40% of the units are affordable. And of interest here, a adjustment that they made is that the affordable units must be rentals, but the rest of the units, residential units, can be rental or ownership. The previous version, last year's version of the law, required that everything be rental, the way that it was written. So this actually provides a little bit more flexibility for a project. And then we'll talk about some exemptions, mention rent control, and those sorts of things as we go through here. So again, on that optional program, here's the stipulations there, and also to give you an idea of some of the dollar amounts that we're talking about. And I did update these from last year's numbers. So for Martin County, our 2024 AMI is $87,800. That's area median income. So that the range of affordability runs from annual income of $31,200 to $105,360 for a family of 4. 80% of that AMI is $73,350 for a family of 4, just to give you some of the parameters that we're working with. So again, that affordability is 30% to 120% of AMI. Those are those numbers that I just gave you. And again, like I said before, this is not a preemption, it's a flexibility program for local governments. And you don't need to change zoning or comprehensive plan, kind of like you just had to do here for that little project. So the next, moving into the preemption category, this is where you must act. The county must authorize multifamily and mixed-use residential in commercial, industrial, or mixed-use zoning if at least 40% of those units are affordable. And again, that's in that 30% to 120% of AMI range. That's rent plus utilities plus taxes at 30% of the income maximum. So again, that range is $31,200 a year to $105,360 a year for an income for a family of 4. Like I said, the affordable units have to be rentals, but the rest of the units can be any type of ownership. So a couple of different features here. So you would not be allowed to require land use or zoning change or comprehensive plan amendments or special exceptions, variances. There's a whole list of processes that you're not allowed to require for this kind of development. You're also not allowed to restrict the density below the highest allowed density on any unincorporated land in the county where residential development is allowed. And so there's some confusion about what that term actually meant. Some communities have optional programs where if you meet certain stipulations, you can get additional density. So there were disputes happening as to whether what the actual, what does highest allowed density mean? Is it the by right density? Is it the density with all of the options laid in? So legislature clarified that it is, and these are my words, they didn't actually use these words, but the by right density. So it's your basic density, your basic highest allowable density in the county. Doesn't include bonus programs, but interestingly enough, if the project qualifies under the terms of that program, then you have to grant the bonus. So some of those programs are affordable housing bonus programs, and so there is a way to get higher than what that basic highest allowed density is. You also may not restrict the height below the highest currently allowed height for commercial or residential development within the unincorporated area of the county, within 1 mile of the proposed development, or 3 stories, whichever is higher. Now, this area got a lot of extra clarification. You can see I've got an almost entire paragraph of red text there. There's some what you might say are good clarifying provisions inside this thing. The first is that 1 mile radius does not reset when a Live Local Act project gets approved. So it's not a process, which was a concern of some folks, that you basically set a Live Local Act project, 0.9 miles from a pretty tall building allowed in the county, and then you go another mile from that, and then another mile, and so on, and next thing you know, everything is like that. It's basically what was that highest allowed height at the time of this all starting. So that's a kind of a scaling back, if you will. And then we get into something that's a little bit complicated. But this basically brings context to bear on what is the highest allowable height on a project. So if you have a site that is adjacent on 2 or more sides to parcels that are zoned for single-family residential and developed as single-family residential, 2 keys there, and they have at least 25 lots, so it's not like one single house, that basically is a 25-lot subdivision. The height may be restricted to 150% of the tallest building on any property adjacent to the site. That's one potential height. The highest by right height for the site based on its existing zoning, or 3 stories, whichever of those 3 things is higher. And then adjacent also does not mean across the street. So you're basically looking at those 3 sides for a typical site that fronts on a road. So that really does bring context to bear on what you would allow for a maximum height. And I think it's a recognition by the legislature that maybe there are good things that happen in an approval process where you actually look at those different factors. And then this is this next one, item 4 here, this is a provision to address something that some clever or tricky, depending on your perspective, communities came up with, which is, they didn't say anything about floor area ratio, so we'll put floor area ratio limits in as a way to restrict this. Well, okay, legislature says, no, I don't think so. So you can't restrict the floor area ratio below 150% of the highest currently allowed FAR within your unincorporated county. So that basically took that restriction out. So on to the next area. This got longer as they made all these changes, so apologies. We're familiar with the administrative approval requirement that they imposed last year, and now there's a requirement that you have a policy with procedures and expectations on how you will manage these approvals, and that you post it on the website. When I was last in front of you, I shared that there were some communities that had already done that, and I think I probably indicated that that was a recommended practice to have some guidelines on how you're going to process these. Now you have to have them. And then the reducing parking requirements, they adjusted the distance from and what you are near where you have to consider. It doesn't say must approve, but consider reducing parking. That's a 1/4 mile to a transit stop. So that's basically within 1/4 mile of a bus stop, and you can get there. It has to be accessible to the development. And if you meet those stipulations, then you're supposed to consider reducing the parking requirements. Then they got more serious about the parking requirement stuff, and so now you have some new requirements of what you must do. You must reduce parking by 20% if it's developments within a 1/2 mile of a major transit hub. And then you might remember last time I said, here's a thing that you get to define yourself. Well, not anymore. They're telling you what a major transit hub is, and we'll get to that in a second. That hub has to be accessible to the development, and there's parking available in the area within 600 feet of the site. You must eliminate parking requirements for proposed mixed-use development in an area designated as a transit-oriented development by the county. So if you've already designated a particular area for TOD, then these Live Local Act projects, the parking is to be waived for them. They define major transit hub as transit station, bus, train, light rail, served by public transit, and a mix of other transportation options. So interesting to see the word public in there. Development using Live Local Act provisions located within a recognized transit-oriented development must be mixed use. It can't be pure residential and use these provisions. And then I added all the new citations down there at the bottom. Continuing on in the preemptions category, but there's some exemptions. So recreational, commercial, waterfront, working waterfront, zoned industrial, we mentioned that last time. Airport impact areas, which I'll get into that in a next slide here, but hold that thought. And then there is a provision for counties to be able to opt out of the 75% tax exemption if the Schimberg Center at the University of Florida, if their study data shows no need for housing in the range, the 30 to 120% range, or actually I think it's 80 to 120% range that's out there. You can call that the Pasco County exemption. They fought tooth and nail to get that put in because their studies showed that they already had enough of that. And so why are we encouraging it with a tax exemption if you already have enough? So you would have to, I did not look and see what Schimberg data is for Martin County on that, but you'd have to check that out and see what's in there. So then we have all the property tax exemption requirements, which did not change at all. You're still not allowed to do rent control. Now, airport impact areas, this whole page is in red. Look at that. So any development proposed within a quarter-mile laterally from the runway edge, and, I have a typo there, sorry, within, not within an area a quarter-mile wide extending 10,000 feet from either end of any existing or planned airport runway does not get to use the Live Local Act provisions to get out of the height requirements and those sorts of things, and the density requirements. So basically, your existing planning in that sort of cloud around the airport runways stays in effect, and the exemptions can't be used. Also within an airport noise zone identified in federal land use compatibility table or local land use and zoning about airport regulations. And you also can't exceed the maximum height identified in the local airport zoning restrictions if they've been adopted pursuant to Florida statutes. And then I direct you right to where those provisions are because they're a little bit even more detailed than I've summarized here. But I think that does have impact here in your community, certainly with Witham Field and the areas around that. And basically, this is an airport safety provision. There's a cone of height and sometimes use restrictions, but a cone of height restrictions that surround an airport so that planes can take off and land safely and have enough room to recover from any sort of whatever might be happening and not impact a building. Now, this is one of these, next up, the conforming use part, something that the authors of the bill last year probably did not think about because they don't operate in local government, but something that I'm sure your county attorney was pondering when this got approved. Okay, so it gets approved. Is it a conforming use or not? That's an interesting question, right? Well, they answered the question for us. It is to be considered a conforming use, meaning if it's destroyed, it can be replaced. You can also get loans on that basis, et cetera. If they don't meet the affordability requirements, then they have to be treated as a non-conforming use, which from my reading of these amendments is the only enforcement provision that they've added in there, which is unfortunate. It's something that I know the local governments were looking for. I've heard it all over the region. Anyway, that's all that they gave you so far. And then the roll-in of the new provision. So this law is interesting. Last year's became effective July 1st, when typically the statutes become effective. This one becomes effective upon signature by the governor. I've been out of town for a couple of days, but when I checked on Friday, it had not been signed yet. I don't know if it's been signed, but when that happens, it's in effect. But if you've already got a development in for approval, you get to choose, do you want to be under the previous ones or do you want to be under the new ones? And even if I want to be under the new ones, local government, you can't make me withdraw and reapply. I'd basically just provide you a letter and say I want to be under the new provisions. So this is, again, the state housing strategy. Do take a look at it. It is actually pretty innovative. And last amendment in there, or change in there, funding, they did provide another $100 million to the Hometown Hero Program, which is a down payment assistance program for any full-time employee of a Florida-based company with particular income provisions. But basically, it can provide that down payment assistance, which can be a real challenge for folks moving from pretty expensive rental market we have now into trying to buy a house, being able to, come up with that down payment. So it's been very successful. The reason why they're putting more money in is because all the money they put in last year has already been put out on the street, and the year before that, it's been put out on the street. So it's been a really good uptake. So is it being used? My understanding is there's at least one project here in unincorporated Martin County that's using that. And then none yet, to my knowledge, in Stewart or Indiantown. But there's been, some applicants will say, well, if you give me, what I want, or I'm going to use this thing, that's happening around the region. And then the last, feedback to legislature. So last time I was in front of you, and then at some other different meetings we've had, we, the Regional Planning Council, were supporting the idea that the industrial piece of the preemption would be taken out, that basically your industrial would be allowed to stay industrial, or that you would have control over your industrial turning into residential. For some shining moments, that was in place in the legislation as it moved through the committee process, and then when it went to amalgamation, or whatever you call that, when the two versions get smashed together, it came out. So you can still do a Live Local Act residential project in an industrial zoned area with all of the potential workforce impacts and property compatibility impacts that come with that. It's very unfortunate. I was actually happy for a moment, but then there it went. So typical. So this is the income summary limits page if you're interested. This is more for me if you ask me questions. But anyway, that's the status of what what the legislature did with the amendments this year. And I'm happy to answer any questions to the extent that I can. Thank you.
Very good job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very confusing. That. Do we have any questions or clarifications?
You were very clear.
All right.
Nice job.
Thank you.
When you don't have any questions, you know you did a good job.
Sure. Or I thoroughly dazzled you.
All right, since we have the FDOT folks here, we're going to move on to Florida Turnpike and I-95 Direct Connect Interchange PD&E study for Martin County. And neither one of y'all are Ricardo, so take it away.
Jim Gordon, Public Works Director. At the April 8th MPO meeting, the Turnpike Enterprise staff updated the MPO board on the Turnpike and I-95 Direct Connect Interchange PD&E study. At the end of the presentation, the MPO board requested that the Turnpike staff also provide a similar presentation to the Board of County Commissioners for their input. And this is Jaslyn with the Turnpike.
Good morning, board commissioners. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present on this project. And my name is Jaslyn Haywood, and I have a few members of the team. If we get into questions that I can't answer, that they will assist me through. So the presentation outline, we're going to explain why we're even looking at doing this direct connect interchange. We've developed two project alternatives. And as was mentioned, we were asked to present the Bridge Road concept. So we'll present those two alternatives on a sketch level, and then where we are in the project schedule. Off to the right, you'll see that this is where we are in the transportation planning process. We're in PD&E study. So the next phases are design, right-of-way acquisition, which we do need on this project, and eventually construction. So the project is in Martin County, about 2 miles south of Southeast Bridge Road, and the study area ends about a mile north. And we're looking at this project because we're trying to improve system linkage, improve safety, and enhance emergency response and evacuation. So right now, there are no direct connections between Florida's Turnpike and I-95. So we have, in the blue are the 95 interchanges. We got 4 in Martin County, and we're showing some Palm Beach. And then we got one in long story short, in order to make this connection between Florida's Turnpike and I-95, the drivers have to use the local roadway network in Martin County and Palm Beach County in order to do that today. So a system-to-system connection is needed, and that would enhance safety. The area that we're looking at, Southeast Bridge Road, we're looking to provide high-speed ramp connections, so the Turnpike and I-95 are spaced that far enough so that we can provide those high-speed ramps, and it happens to be just about midway between where drivers do that today, between Martin Highway and Indiantown Road to the south. We have some safety issues that we're looking, that this would help address along the Florida's Turnpike and I-95. And lastly, as I already mentioned, enhancing emergency response and evacuation by making these improvements, especially that ability to switch between the 2 expressways, would enhance that emergency response and evacuation. So let's get into the alternatives. Before we do, though, this is how we got to where we are today. So we started with sketch levels, we put them on the table, we took out those that had fatal flaws, we made some refinements to those, and we just kept going and going until we got to the point where we have 2 feasible, what we call feasible and reasonable alternatives. Before we go to the public, it was June, we pushed it to July. We always come to our local agency partners to present the information and get feedback before we take it to the public, for public feedback. So this is alternative 1. I did have some animations, but I see that they're not here on this one. I think this is a PDF version of my presentation. All right, so this is all layered here, but the arrows show that we were proposing 4 direct connections, northbound to northbound, southbound to southbound. So 4 movements between the 2. The orange shows the right-of-way that would be needed to make this happen. And in this alternative, this impacts, so we would have the I-95 access, we're not taking away that access. We're not taking away that access in any of our alternatives. But in this alternative, we have to modify the ramps. And there's a bridge going over one of them. So it's just some modifications. It stays there. And this is estimated to cost $231 million, alternative 1 does. Alternative 2, the ramps are in a different location. Same movements, northbound to northbound, southbound to southbound. This one, alternative 2, does not require modifications to the I-95 ramps, and it's about $100 million less, $156 million estimated cost overall. Mm-hmm. Both of these alternatives provide emergency access. We've spoken to the Martin County emergency responders. We are tweaking this a little bit to better suit their needs. But at the end of the day, both alternatives will provide the same access, and we are coordinating that with Martin County emergency responders. So looking at alternatives 1 and 2, what are the traffic benefits? The new Direct Connect interchange, those 4 movements, they're expected to carry in the year 2050, which we're forecasting out to, 26,400 vehicles per day. So what this means for Palm Beach County at West Indiantown Road is that 15,600 cars will be removed from that crossover traffic, 37% decrease at the Turnpike interchange, and 16% decrease at I-95, and up in Martin County, 3,200 vehicles removed, that crossover traffic, which means an 8% decrease at the Turnpike interchange. Now, we also looked at the local roads. So on Martin Highway, we're removing about a 5% decrease in traffic there and a 9% decrease at High Meadows Avenue. So those are the 2 alternatives that we would like to take for public feedback. Let's get into now Southeast Bridge Road. So it was a concept that was analyzed as we went through that tiered process, but it was eliminated. The spacing between I-95 and Turnpike is so close. It's about 1,900 feet from the Gore to the Turnpike Main Line, even less than a half a mile. So it's too close for safe operations of two separate full interchanges. So we're engineers. We tried to make it work. We looked at what it would take to make it work, and we combined the interchanges. So what that resulted in is 3 interchanges in one, resulting in a complex interchange, which I'll go through. So again, this doesn't have my animations, but I'm going to go through it, you know? So the existing I-95 access, that remains, but we do have to modify the ramps. So the southbound off, which is it's a diamond configuration now. In order to make this work, it turned into a loop ramp. So that's lower speed and a higher potential for lane departure crashes. So that southbound off at 95 becomes a loop ramp. Now we have new Turnpike and I-95 connections, which is the same 4 movements as alternatives 1 and 2 that you just saw, northbound to northbound, southbound to southbound. Now, the bridge access road is not going to be all 4. It's going to be only 2. So let me see if I could find them now. They should be in green. So you go from Turnpike, head south, and then you switch over to I-95, and then you take that loop ramp, and then you get off at Bridge Road. So that would be the one movement. And then the northbound on, so you would be on Southeast Bridge Road, and then you would get onto I-95, and then take a left exit, which is not ideal, but you see it on some expressways, especially Turnpike when you're getting under Service Plaza. But so you would do I-95, take that left exit, and get onto the Turnpike. So those are the 2 movements that would happen. So in order to make this happen, you have local access being mixed with high-speed access. So we had to, in the southbound direction, it would require a collected distributor road. And that would create additional conflict points. And again, that loop ramp, that low-speed loop ramp, that would have to, for the southbound off. And then I already mentioned, it's also mixing of traffic in this direction, additional conflict points that aren't in the other alternatives, and it's a left exit. So those are, that is the Southeast Bridge Road concept. Okay?
That's not feasible, you're saying?
Yeah, so what we found is it is not, so why was it eliminated? We have safety and operational concerns. We have that 3 interchanges in one is complex. It introduces additional conflict points in I-95. It mixes that lower and high-speed traffic and that loop ramp. It does have the most right-of-way impacts. It has 3 times more right-of-way impacts than alternatives 1 and 2, so that's more impactful to the surrounding parcel owners, property owners. And at the end of the day, we started with a slide that showed purpose and need, system linkage, enhancing safety, and enhancing emergency response and evacuation. It does not meet the project purpose and need. There are no benefits to additional adjacent interchanges in Martin County. There's like the Martin Highway, it's not so congested that it needs to be relieved such that this would provide that benefit. The local access here would provide the benefit. And alternatives 1 and 2 do meet the project purpose and need. So that's why we continued with alternatives 1 and 2. So my last slide was this, but I know we're going to have questions. Depending on the outcome of this meeting, we would like to take alternatives 1 and 2 for public input. And right now, the anticipated dates are July 17th and July 18th. But I know there are questions, so I'll go back to whatever slide.
So I just want to make it clear, 'cause I'm going to, since I'm chair, I can do that.
You're the hope
I was actually talking to a press person the other day. I actually have to apologize. I missed the MPO meeting that this was presented the last time. The previous ones is the Bridge Road interconnect with the Turnpike was not on the table. There is people in South County that are passionate, actually on both sides of that issue.
Yes.
But it's always been completely impractical. We're not going to put any more traffic on Bridge Road. I just want to make that clear that we're not going there, right? So,
Yes, the alternatives that we would like to move forward with do not provide additional access to Bridge Road.
thank you. I just wanted to reiterate that one more time. Commissioner Campy.
Ms. Haywood, thank you for your presentation, but I'm not on the MPO board. Some of my all of my other colleagues are, so I'm going to be, but I haven't been yet for these. You just spent some time showing us a version that you are not going to use.
Yes, because we were asked to.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but that made it much more confusing because you spent time explaining an option that we're not going to use. So for folks that are watching at home, this is not the option.
That is
The
not the
two that you are potentially going to use, we didn't get into that level of detail as much as you did here, I don't believe.
Because it's much simpler interchange.
Oh, these, yes, I get
Yeah,
it.
it was a much simpler, there are much simpler configurations, northbound to northbound, southbound to
Got you,
southbound.
perfect. Here's my question, and actually, I heard this being discussed on the radio this morning on my
Okay.
way to work, that we were going to have this meeting right now. And so with that in mind, the obvious question is, if one is $231 million.
Yes.
And one is, what's the other, 100?
152? 156.
And they're both work, and there's
Yes.
no upside or downside.
Yes.
Why is there two options? Why would we ever spend an additional $100 million? Like,
We could have.
what's the value of an extra $100 million?
We could have gone to public meeting with one alternative. You are correct. I think it's apparent which one, pending public feedback and local agency feedback, which one is going to be the preferred alternative. It's likely going to be alternative two.
Correct, unless there's, money raining down into the
Yes.
cars on the expensive version. If we are looking for any kind of activity, I would make a motion to accept the $156 million version.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith.
So it was me who pushed for the discussion to make sure that we explore all the options. What was glazed over very quickly and the impacts were very slight were that, Ed, you are going to get some impacts in Palm City, and if we ever do redesign the Turnpike interchange up there, it's going to change.
Palm City.
I am on 95 a fair amount these days for whatever reason. This section, can we stop? Whoa, stop.
Sorry.
Go back to the one you just had up.
Okay, we'll do.
No, or the one before. I don't care.
The one-
Just stop moving it, please. We will get one shot at this for the next 50 years. Whatever decision is made, good or bad or indifferent, we're not going to go back and rebuild this thing 10 years from now because we made a mistake in the decision. This section, and Harold, you probably know it as well as anybody, but I've been down here probably 20 times in the last couple months. For whatever reason, the accidents and the traffic between the county line and the way station is like out of control. I don't know what happens on the turnpike,
The firefighters call it the twilight zone.
but it is the twilight zone. And so the other day when I was going down, there was 6-7 miles of traffic on the turnpike, dead still, stopped, not going anywhere. There were people on the 95 side that were slowing down because the turnpike side was stopped, and they were looking to find out what was going on in that component. When you are in that mess, there is no alternative to get out of that mess and do something different. And so the options are, if you know how to get around it, if you're local, you'll go out Bridge Road underneath 95, underneath the turnpike, and you go out west, which I've done before when there was something going on out there, and all of that was congested and tied up. I understand the concern of not wanting to open up Bridge Road to any more traffic. I don't believe that that's what would happen. I believe that you're giving the most options possible to both people in Hobe Sound to get on or off if that's the direction you're going. I appreciate your criticism of the third option.
Yes.
I don't agree with it. I think it's overkill on the concerns. I travel all over the state, and I see the crazy things you all do with interchanges all over the state. The worst one in the world, and it's the most confusing, I said this at the MPO meeting, is down where the turnpike blends into the Sawgrass, and you don't know if you're going to Naples or if you're going north. And then there's another one that goes to the east, and you never know which one you're on, and now you find yourself going to the airport when you had no intentions that you really wanted to get on the Sawgrass, right? I think of what you're doing in Orlando with all the interchanges up there, and you have done crazy, remarkable things up there. But the idea that it's too congested, it's too tight, it's too this, it's too that, I completely reject all of that, given what you're doing around the state. So, look, if this isn't to move forward, I would have just liked to have seen, if we're going to be completely transparent to the public and give them options, show them the options. This one says, no, we've already made the decision. Why even have the public hearing? We're selecting item number 2 because it's the cheapest. And why bother going any further? So by not giving anybody an option, not understanding the dynamics of what will really happen with all this, and I don't know that we absolutely know, I think we're shorting the public. And I always think that. And the funny thing is, you know, when one of these projects is delivered to us, there's also the no-build option. And that's not here, right?
Well,
You
because
presented 2
because of timing and
nothing about no build. And so I just, you know, and I said this at the MPO as well, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. We were presented years ago with a plan from engineers on the 4-leaf clover that was going to get built at 95 and 714. Or 76, sorry, I always get those two mixed up, at 76. And if you didn't look at the drawings and you didn't pay the slightest bit of attention to what was on the drawing, the MPO didn't say much until I said, look, you understand that there's going to be a hotel, a restaurant, and a fast food torn down because of the way this thing is designed. And we were told what got built wasn't practical, wouldn't fit, we couldn't do it. I said, I don't know. Go up to Daytona and look at Ponce Inlet or Port Orange exit. There's a tight diamond up there. How is it you could build it up there and we couldn't build it here? Well, guess what? The MPO voted we wanted nothing to do with what was proposed, and they built a tight diamond like they are down south and like what was up in Port Orange. I just sometimes, when these things get presented, because whoever and for whatever reason doesn't want an option, it gets presented in such a way that it just can't work. It's too expensive and it's too tight. We don't have enough distance between A and B. End of story. And then a motion gets made and we choose number 2 because that's what we're going to present because it's the cheapest. And I don't know that it's the best, honestly. And so I appreciate you allowing us to see this because that's what we asked you to do. I just wish that the public would get to see in the public hearing process all of the options so that they know what other options could be considered. And with that, I got to go. I thank you.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, could you, hold on a minute. Do you mind if we finish these 2 last items within your absence? Or? Sure. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, I certainly can understand the need for examining these alternatives. In the last several months, let's call it 6 months, each time that I have traveled south and have come north on I-95, there has been a terrible accident at Indiantown Road every single time, not 80% of the time, 100% of the time. So I understand the need to reduce the traffic on the Indiantown interchange. And also, I have absolutely no interest in creating new exits in Martin County. No interest whatsoever. So I think that the alternative 2 that just allows a fast exchange between the Turnpike and I-95 is a brilliant solution to a problem that exists today. So I like both 1 and 2, but obviously I prefer 2 because it's less expensive, and I think that it will function just as well as alternative 1.
I personally concur with you. We have such an issue on Bridge Road right now when there's a backup on 95. Literally, the traffic will back up to 95 to US 1. And it's just, we have no, I'll get a shot in. If Willoughby would have come to Bridge Road and we had another means of, maybe that would be different. But the way it's configured right now, we can't take it. Anyway, Commissioner Heatherington.
I don't disagree with all that. I'm just curious, how much right-of-way is, because it's significantly cheaper, I'd imagine, construction, but how much right-of-way is required in alternative 1 or 2? Because it looks like there's one section that you could acquire that right-of-way in alternative 2, where you're going to either buy from a willing seller or condemn this section, but then you've got this other parcel in alternative 1, no, I'm sorry, alternative 2.
So I think I'm going to ask Bill if he remembers, but between the two, one is 67 acres and the other one is about 70-something. So the right-of-way between alternatives 1 and 2 aren't that much of a difference. But it is over 60 acres needed for both. Yeah, it is. It is.
But it's elevated, right?
What's that?
Anyway, never mind. Commissioner Campy.
I'm going to follow on that.
Okay.
Couple of questions that we didn't hear. Timing-wise, I know that a lot of times we're thinking when we have this conversation that, hey, you guys are going to be out there starting this in the next 6 months. Give us the time frame of what you're talking about. Most of us might not even be around to ever get a chance to do this, correct?
Yeah.
When is this going to be built?
So let me go back to so that's the transportation planning process. This is because we're dealing with I-95, it's a federal project. So design has to be funded before this PD&E study concludes, depending on public feedback and what's not as we get. So design will be funded. Besides that, we don't know. But as everyone knows, FDOT goes through that annual work program process and funds project based on priority. So it's just a yearly process of when this will actually be done. So 2 years for each phase. If you were just supposed to keep going and going, it would be 2 years for each phase. 2 years for design, 2 years for right-of-way, and then you get into construction.
So not holding you responsible for
Yes.
a guess. The first cars driving over this, what year will it be?
It is not funded.
Okay, so, but it won't happen within the next decade.
That I don't know. How would I answer that, Henry?
Well, I just want to make sure that people don't start to have like a crazy sense of urgency. This is, if I were to guess,
Yes.
I'm not the expert, you all are, 10, 15 years out, correct?
Yeah, we're looking at, like Jaslyn said, if everything is lining up, it could be 5 or more years to start construction. So
Yes.
that's
5 years.
Fast.
to start construction. That's, again, if all the funding is in place and all that, but again.
Oh, that
there's
little,
a
if
lot of
all the funding is in
If.
place.
Yes, if.
Yeah, there is a lot of priorities for the term.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Yeah, my name is Henry Pinzon. I am the Turnpike Environmental Management Engineer.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm not criticizing you. I think having the flyover option now without the requirement of going through Turnpike toll booths, the ability to do SunPass or toll by plate allows a lot of this. And I travel all over the country for my regular job, and I see this all the time where you can get from one. And as far as I'm concerned, hearing most of it, having read the agenda item and now hearing about it from you all, it's a great idea. It gives people the ability that if there is an accident on 95 or the Turnpike, to be able to find somewhere to switch over. Even if you're crawling along a mile or so before the switchover, you know that at least you will at some point. And then also to alleviate anybody getting off at Bridge Road is a plus. The other question, if you do have to require potentially 60 acres, and this is an elevated roadway, would the current owners of that property still have the ability to use underneath, or do you guys block it and own
No,
it?
we block
You-
it.
And so it's
Yeah.
not like, because currently what's out there now is very rural in nature.
Yes.
There's no opportunity for it to continue to exist underneath your project.
No.
There's cows on there now.
No, a fence would go up where the limited access right-of-way line is, but I would like to clarify that this is not elevated. Or the only things that elevated is when you have to cross over and I-95 but other than that is at grade.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna have the rise and falls, but for most part, it's at grade.
No, I understand.
Yeah, good.
What?
It's amazing we all assumed it was elevated.
Well, you're not saying it's some sections will be elevated to get you over the
Yeah,
tops
exactly,
of things.
exactly.
And if you're having, I'm not an engineer, but if you're having a natural pitch at high speeds,
Yes.
you're not coming up the hill.
No, it's
And it's going to
gradual.
elevate up and
There you
over.
go.
That's what I'm
Yes.
speaking of that. So
Very
it's not
visual
like
correctly.
at the canal closer to Martin Highway and High Meadows, where it's 60 feet elevated.
Yeah, no.
You're not doing that.
It's gonna be gradual, just like you said.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I was just going to suggest, it's complex enough that I think you need more public involvement meetings. You've got 2 days in the middle of the summer
Yes.
that if someone misses them, they're done. If you could spread those out probably throughout the timeline and have more than 2 meetings back to back in the middle of the summer, I think that probably would be beneficial to the public.
Thank you. We used to only have one, but because of the pandemic, we are now providing the virtual option. So no matter where anyone is in the world, as long as they have that internet connection, they can join that virtual meeting, and then we have the in-person. But we'll take that under consideration.
Yeah, in addition, the virtual meeting is gonna be
Recorded.
put on the website, so they can go to the website and see the meeting as it's presented, and all the materials.
Exciting opportunities and projects. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
One
you.
last thing, though, please, if I may. Commissioner Smith asked about that no build. Because of the timing, and we were trying to compress the presentation, we did not present the no build, but that is an option that remains on the table throughout the PD&E study, the no build or do nothing alternative. And we'll get more into that in our public meeting presentation.
Okay, do we need a motion, or Commissioner?
Would you like a
Can't
little-
be made a motion, but,
Do you need a motion? I withdraw my motion.
all right,
No,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to change up once again, since we are all the way to only having 2 items left. We are going to take a 10-minute,
We don't even need to.
we're going to take a 5-minute, you got the,
They don't need that. You could take my word for it.
okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back, closed captioning break for our 2 items, which actually have a total of 5. And I like being defiant, so. Welcome back. We will now take up Department Number 1, Office of Management and Budgets, items which require board approval. We have 3 of them, and Stephanie Murley will take us away.
Good morning, Commissioners. Stephanie Murley with the Office of Management and Budget here to present to you the OMB item for today. Our first item is a permission to apply for the COPS, or the Community Oriented Policing Services Technology and Equipment Program grant. A partnership between the General Services and Department and the Sheriff's Office is requesting a $750,000 grant for replacement of obsolete equipment and support systems with effective equipment, technologies, and interoperable communications to assist in responding to and preventing crime at the E911 Dispatch Center. There is no match required for this grant. It's not scrolling, sorry. Our second item is a permission to accept the FDOT supplemental agreement for the Northeast Jensen Beach Boulevard resurfacing project. This is just a grant amendment that is increasing the grant project by $153,093. We have the match already budgeted in the FY24 Roads Capital Improvement Plan, which is available currently in the CIP. And the last item is just a request for funds for development review engineering services. If you recall, back in December of 2023, we requested funding in order to get the backlog of development review engineering plan reviews. This additional request in the amount of $77,880 from development review fees in the unincorporated MSTU will allow development review to continue this pace through the end of fiscal year '24. And that is all I have today.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Commissioner Smith is not here.
Thank you.
Okay. Department Number 2, thank you for being so quick. Department Number 2, contracts that will meet the threshold of the board, contracts that meet the threshold for board approval, $1 million or greater. Christy Brotherton.
Good morning. Christy Brotherton, Chief Procurement Officer. We have 2 items for your consideration today. The first is a continuing services agreement for fertilizers and pesticides. This contract has a maximum not to exceed value of $3 million and a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. And staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders, which are Gulf Ventures and SiteOne Landscape Supply. And staff is requesting that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute all documents related to this request. The next contract we have is a continuing services agreement for environmentally sensitive lands vegetation management. This contract has a maximum not to exceed value of $5 million with a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. This particular contract, the bidders were not required to bid on all line items. That's why we have the contract award broken down by line items. And there is a change. We are rescinding the contract award to ground level. This was due to some contract exceptions that were submitted that we could not agree to. So the contractor and the county agreed to rescind the contract award. So with that being said, staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders by line item. For items 1 through 8, we have Earth Balance Corporation, Kerner LLC, Wetlands Management. For items 9 through 14, we have John Brown and Sons, Kerner LLC, and Salgado Tree Trimming. And for items 15 through 19, we have Brightview Landscaping Services, Salgado Tree Trimming, and Wetlands Management. And that move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute all documents related to this request. And that concludes this item.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Commissioner Smith not here.
Thank you.
With that, we have reached the end of our exciting agenda today. And do we have any public comment 5:05 at 11:15. Seeing none. Commissioner comments, Commissioner Heatherington?
I'm all set, thanks.
I'm all set. Commissioner Campy?
All set.
I'm set.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to say a few words on this last Thursday evening. There was a fire at the Florida Power and Light plant, and our fire rescue staff responded as quickly and expeditiously to the scene. Obviously, there were some incidents that occurred there. I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I thought the staff did a really outstanding job with. In working with Florida Power and Light at the plant with those that had injured. It was a significant scene in that regard. Chief Deputy John Budenseek remained in close communication with administration and fire rescue team and assisting them in cordoning off the area. But I think what's most significant is that the staff firemen went in to rescue those that had been injured due to an explosion that did cause a temporary delay in the action of them fighting the fire. Talking to our chief, working closely with the plant managers, and I think it's very important to note that our hazmat team was very involved with defining what the conditions are and what could be done. And then knowing Chad Tinchuli, our chief, was not one for inaction after receiving really valuable information from his team, made a decision to act decisively and put the fire out, and no further hazards were encountered after they took that action. And so I just think it's really important. There'll be certainly more after-action review of it, but they really did an outstanding job in both rescuing and helping to save the lives of 2 injured FP&L, including their own injured firefighter, and then to assess afterwards the risks involved in working closely to assess a safe means of continuing to put out the fire. There was quite a lot went into that, and they did really an outstanding job. So and our prayers go to those injured FP&L agents for their recovery, and our injured firefighter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Ms. Woods?
And with that.
Nothing? All right. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.